Red Van Goofy. Once upon a time, in a sleepy little village, there lived a friendly young fellow named Red Van Goofy. On most days, you could find him sitting outside the village inn, chatting with his friends Mickey Van Mumble, the schoolmaster, and Horace Vander, the owner of the inn. One sunny day, Red Van Goofy went to the inn. He was ready for some good fishing and a long nap. He wanted to know if Mickey or Horace would go with him to his favorite fishing hole. "No, I'd best stay here and keep an eye on the inn," said Horace. "And I don't have a pole," said Mickey. "But you'll have a good time, Rip." And so it was that Red Van Goofy set out alone on that sunny day. Red waved to his friends and began to walk along a dusty country road. On his way out of town, he stopped to talk to his friend Clarabelle. After a few minutes, he set off again. A couple miles later, and he saw the big cricket tree. "Here's my turn," he said, and walked through the woods. In no time at all, he came to his favorite fishing spot. Red Van Goofy sat down on the soft grass and dropped his fishing line into the water. "This is life," he said as he leaned against a moss-covered rock. Rip kept one eye on his line, watching for any sign of a nibble, while he closed the other eye. He spent most of the afternoon half awake. As night began to fall, Red Van Goofy's other eye closed, and he fell into a deep, deep sleep. Bright sunshine awakened Rip. He sat up and rubbed his eyes. Last he knew, it had been early evening. Now it was morning. "Well, golly," he thought. "Could I really have slept here all night long?" Rip reached for his fishing pole. A metal reel which had been quite shining and new when he had fallen asleep was now completely rusted, and his wooden rod looked much more worn than he remembered. "Now that's strange," said Rip, and he began to rub his chin. But even stranger was realize that he had a long gray beard. Rip wondered if he was still dreaming. How could a fellow grow a full-long beard overnight? Confused, he rose to his feet, picked up his rusty fishing rod, and began to walk back to the village. As Red Van Goofy reached the edge of the town, he caught a glimpse of himself in the window. Red gasped. Who was that old man staring back at him? He barely recognized himself. Eventually, Red found himself walking through the center of the village. But instead of the sleepy little place he remembered, he found a bustle town. Stranger still, Red Van Goofy didn't recognize anyone. No one seemed to know him either. Everyone seemed as confused as he was. Red Van Goofy walked to the village inn, where he used to chat with his friends. Surely that would still be the same. But the inn was gone. In its place still a restaurant called Vendor's Victuals. An old man sat in a rocking chair on the porch. Excuse me, Rip said to the man. Do you know a Horace vendor? The fellow in the chair peered over his glasses at Rip. Horace Bender used to own this place, he replied. But he sold it to me before he moved away. That was 30 years ago. Rip's head was spinning. Nothing made sense. How could Horace Bender have left town 30 years ago when Rip had just seen him the day before? Rip was at his wit's end. Well, golly, does anybody here know Rip Van Goofy? He cried out in frustration. Rip Van Goofy? Asked the old fellow, rising slowly to his feet. Is that really you? Rip heard something familiar in the old man's voice. He looked closely at him. Then, suddenly, he realized it was Mickey the Mumble. Rip said, puzzled at his friend's changed appearance. But you look so old. Rip Van Goofy didn't know what to think. His friend looked so different. Surely he must be telling the truth about how much time had passed. But Rip could not remember any of it. What had happened to him? The last time I saw you was that day you went fishing 40 years ago, Mickey Van Bumble recalled. When you didn't come back, we went looking for you, but we didn't know where your special fishing spot was. You had never taken any of us there. Where have you been all this time? Suddenly, as Rip thought about the day's events, all the pieces of the puzzle came together. The rusty fishing reel, the long beard, the changes to the village. He had been asleep for 40 years. Rip told Mickey Van Bumble his remarkable story. Before long, the tale had become a legend for miles around. Since Rip Van Goofy was still just as easygoing as he was on the day he left, he soon became popular with everyone in town all over again. He and Mickey Van Bumble loved to pass the time sitting in front of the restaurant, chatting about the old days and talking for hours. Rip also still enjoyed fishing and napping while fishing. But now, before he dozed off, he always made sure there was someone around to wake him up, just in case.